this last news story comes to us from Wesley Yinpool as well, apparently. I just went all IGN
Going
this
off.
week. I did not realize I just picked all IGN, so here we go. Palworld has huge weekend, sells 5 million, and overtakes Cyberpunk 2077 in Steam's most played games list. Palworld's astonishing success swelled over the weekend with the Pokemon with Gun survival and crafting game shooting up Steam's most played games list and selling millions more copies. Palworld launched on January 19th in early access form on Steam as well as on Xbox and Windows PC, day and date with Game Pass. Palworld overtook CD Projekt's Cyberpunk 2077 to set Steam's fifth highest peak concurrent player count with 1,291,967 online at the same time on Valve's platform. Palworld is currently the most played game on Steam, ahead of Behemoth's Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, and PUBG. It is the sixth game ever to hit 1 million concurrents on Steam. There are a number of Steam records that go along with the success on Steam. Palworld is now the most played Japanese-developed game ever on Steam. Its developer Pocket Pair is based in Tokyo, ahead of previous record holder Elden Ring. And Palworld is the second most played game ever on Steam, behind PUBG's perhaps unsurmountable peak concurrent figure of 3,257,248, which was set before the Battle Royale went free to play. Meanwhile, Pocket Pair said Palworld has sold over 5 million units in about 3 days, with 86,000 copies selling per hour. For context, Insomniac's Marvel's Spider-Man sold 3.3 million copies in its first 3 days. So this has blown it out of the water by like 2 million units, which is wild. Sony Santa Monica's God of War sold 3.1 in 3 days. Naughty Dog's Last of Us Part 2 sold 4 million in the same period. So the closest was Last of Us Part 2, and even that was 1 million off. Isn't that wild?
Insane.
Palworld then has sold faster than the fastest selling first-party PS4 exclusives ever in a 3-day sales window. All this despite its availability day one on Game Pass. That's the other wild thing. It's free on Game Pass, but 5 million people have still purchased it. While Palworld is a clear smash hit, it is not without controversy. Last week, IGN reported on how some Pokemon fans were taking to social media to point out striking similarities between Palworld's Pals and Pokemon themselves. And it's not mentioned in this article because I think it was a recent thing just today, but apparently the dev or the CEO over there came out and they've been getting death threats as well, which is insane. Over a video game, over a bunch of pixels on a screen, people are sending death threats to developers in game companies because of why? Because it's too closely related to Pokemon.
We'll get to it in a second.
That's logical. But yeah. What a wild world we live in. Because when they first ever announced this, I remember seeing the trailer and being like, oh, it's a Pokemon game. Whoa, this looks beautiful. Wait, that's a machine gun. What is this? What is happening?
Why does that Snorlax have a shotgun? What's going on here?
It was just like mind blowing. Just be like, wait, this is, and everyone said it. This is Pokemon with guns, because that's what it first seemed like on initial kind of reveal. Very quickly, though, especially like me and Adrian got to play it last night. That's not all this game is all about. There's a lot more to it.
Not even close.
It is way beyond anything I ever would have imagined this game was, honestly. But it has honestly. I guess it just blows my mind the sales of this because it's an indie game, right? Like it's right.
They don't have a big publisher.
It's not a big publisher or anything like that. Like it's a small game, and to think that they just sold like 5 million copies in a weekend
in 3 days,
and half of it I wonder. I just want to throw this out there. Half of it I wonder how many of these purchases are just for the memes? Like how many are just like, hey, just got to get in on this? Like
$30 for some memes is a very high price.
That's true. But yeah, it's wild. I don't know. What now? I don't know. Do we want to talk about kind of our thoughts on the game here, or do we want to save it for what you're playing? Because we did play the game.
We can give it a little light because it pertains to the story.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess to get into the gameplay then, it's not just Pokemon with guns. In fact, we fired it up. I'm like, oh, this is Minecraft. This is a survival game. Like, and people, I've seen that online now that because I didn't read anything. I went into it totally blind, which was maybe for the better, honestly.
Right.
Just firing up, I'm like, oh, this is Minecraft, or like other people have compared it to like Ark Survival kind of thing. It's a survival game. You jump in and you're naked with no weapons, no equipment, no nothing. And you have to like go and like punch rocks and sticks to collect resources. And then you build your little workbench, and then you can build your little house, and then you can build little pale spheres. Not Pokeballs. They're pale spheres, right? That's what they're called. To catch your pails. And then they help you like build stuff and collect resources and attack other pails and attack other people, basically I forget what the name of it was, but we got raided. Remember, our camp got raided last night by whoever the Team Rocket equivalent is, the bad guys, whatever the bad guys are. They started raiding our camp and trying to destroy it.
But we mollywopped them. We got them out of there.
We had, but there's like a whole like upgrade tree system, which is wild. So there's so much more to this game than just Pokemon with guns. So I do just want to like clarify that, I guess, in this section is this game.
The pals themselves are like the least part of this game. I feel like.
Exactly. Yeah. At least at this point. And maybe later on they'll start to be more. But at this point, I've been doing more like Valheim, like collecting resources and building a house than I have Pokemon, like going out and catching monsters. It's very much like, oh, I got to get food. I'm hungry now. My hunger meter's all the way down. I got to fill it up again. It's just like managing hunger meters and cold, making sure you're not freezing, getting clothes on. It's wild. It's a wild game. But
it's fun.
It was very fun. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have any more to add to this other than congratulations, I guess?
I mean, absolutely. Congratulations are in order. I mean, yes, you can definitely tell that they've taken inspiration for their designs, for their their pals, for sure. You could tell that they just kind of put some parts in a blender all from all different Pokemons and be like, design something out of these characteristics here. I know there's a big stink about whether or not they used AI. I guess the company owner came out and said that's not the case. I run a team to have to do this. We don't do that. And there's no official evidence other than like people trying to line up game models to see how much the pixels interact. And it's like, brother, relax, dude. Do you know what Pokemon was aping when they first came out? Dragon Quest, a game that came out over 10 years before. It had bats, it had scorpions, it had, little critters and whatnot. And what does Pokemon have? Bats and critters and things of that ilk that you find out in the wild. Where did you do that at? Huh. Dragon Quest in 1985. Everything takes from everything.
Yeah.
And you can't, I don't think they're too worried about, anybody like Nintendo coming after them, because I feel like for perjury, it has to be a one-to-one comparison. And they ain't getting that, because those pals, while they do share like maybe a similar body type or a similar fur color, there's too many elements in each one for Nintendo to be able to claim it as their own. Even if they're like, it's based on a regional variant. Don't matter, Chief. It ain't the same thing.
I mean, what's that quote? I don't remember who says it, but it's good artist borrow, great artist steal. Like everyone's using, like, nothing's original nowadays. So it's like, all right, if you're gonna steal it, at least make it your own.
Which they did.
And they did. They very much did. They threw some mini guns in their hands, some machine guns, and color swapped them, and gave them some more character. Like, there are like different defining features of these pails, but it's like, oh man, it's so funny. It's so great. It's a good time. We can talk more about it, I guess, during what you're playing.
I was gonna say we can dive deep later.
It is fun. Thank you so much for watching that clip from our podcast. Remember, if you want to watch the whole episode, the full episode, link will be in the description below. You can click on that and check it out. We got listener questions. We got more news segments. We got what you playing. We got a lot of fun things. So yeah, more than just the news. There's a lot more to the show that you should go check out. So remember, Click that link in the description. Check out that full episode.